Hi guys, welcome back to Let's Talk with Brian and Tia. Today is a special day. Not only is it our 7th episode, but it's our first episode with a guest. Yay! So I have my good friend Mel here with us on the couch, which is amazing. And we're all COVID clear, so don't worry for you guys at home scared. But we're all good to go. So she's joining us today. She's an amazing artist. And at the end of this episode, we're going to leave all her handles so you guys can check her stuff out.
And we're going to be talking about what it's like to date with a child.
Yes.
What it's like.
What it's like.
So T and I don't have any insight on this.
Yeah.
So it was only right that we brought someone on to share that perspective. So we'll jump right in it. Mel, what is it like dating with a child, and how do you manage your time having a child?
Well, I am a planner, so I pretty much have like my weeks mapped out, and I just know like what time I use for myself and what time I have for my son. So normally when I have my free time for me, that's when I will be like, okay, I'm available to, be out there.
Definitely. I mean, that makes sense. You almost have to separate it because when you have a kid, you want to make sure you're giving them all the time that they need because they're the priority. But then obviously it's important for your Mel to have her own time.
I need to have my me time, yes.
And so like what's that like? I know you said like on your me time when you're dating someone, but how does that sometimes like is that hard for people who come in, they want to date you? Sometimes they get intimidated by how structured you have things to be? Because sometimes you know how you start and date a guy and they hit you up, they're like, oh, what you doing tonight? Like, I want to pick you up. And you're like, no, schedule. I told you, don't call me before 8.
Right. No. That is very true. Yes. It does get kind of, tricky in the sense. My son is very young, so it's kind of like he does need a lot of attention. Mostly it's about probably like 80% are, because of course a lot of men want to be, or just in general people want to be spontaneous, things like that. So it's kind of one of those things where I gotta like not really feel bad about it. I gotta stick to my schedule because this is my life, what I'm saying. So, and my son is what I need to be paying attention to more so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
What kind of boundaries do you set for guys when you're dating, as far as is there a certain time before they get to meet your son? Do they get to meet your son? What type of boundaries do you set in place for dating with your
well, I'm gonna be honest with you, like no one that I've dated has met my son.
Wow. My
son like just strictly knows his dad, so it's like and I really take pride in that because for me a man that comes into my life needs to be serious about me and my son. I'm not trying to give my son that impression that, okay, whoever mommy's new friend is, it's like, hey, let's all like join in, like be a happy family. No, I just really gotta see that man is very serious about me and coming into our world before that happens. As far as like time frame, I don't know. Like now that he's getting a little bit older and kind of like understanding that he, goes back and forth, maybe it just matters. It just depends on like the vibe that I get from the guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you really know if he's really genuinely serious, then it's like, okay, maybe you can, meet him, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So with his father, obviously he's there and he's in his life and he's in place. Does that impact the dating at all?
Not at all. I mean, me and his father are strictly co-parents. So, I mean, for me, free game, he's free game. You know what I mean? Like, again, if there is that special someone that I feel is very serious about me and my son, then most definitely, then that's when the introduction would probably come in. But other than that, if I'm just dating and figuring out who's who, there's no reason for, hey.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things. So.
Yeah, 100%. Do sometimes so I'll put this. Do you see a difference in dating, or what's the biggest difference that you see in dating now with a child versus before when you were completely single? Like, is there a difference to where you sit back and be like, wow, this is really different? I mean, outside the schedule that you mentioned, but like, is there any difference? Or is there hesitation now in you to get really, really out there?
For sure hesitation. And I also think that I've noticed that it's more of the quality of men. Now that I have a son, it's like, I guess when you're single, you can basically take risks, I guess, in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
Younger, like,
right. So you just like, like, okay, well, you like me, I like you. Okay, let's talk. You're not really genuinely thinking about the quality of the man that's coming to your life, with a child.
Yeah.
So, or without a child,
That's a dope point Mel make, because I think that is something that you heavily consider once you have a child.
Definitely.
Again, you're talking about integrating a new person into your life and then eventually being around your child.
Correct.
Yeah.
They gotta come correct, right?
They gotta.
You can't have just any old body talking about, be around your kid.
It's true.
And you could be surprised where I'm sure sometimes some of the questions you might ask now and that come to your mind. I mean, probably people who don't have kids should probably still take the same precautions.
Yes.
But like you said, you probably don't, because you don't think of like the responsibility that you have for like another person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
So that can be kind of tricky too.
And so with that being said, and you having a child and dating, have you noticed that now while you're dating with a child, most of the guys that you go and date have children as well?
Actually, it's 50-50 for me, because I guess Wow. And I'm shocked actually, because
I'm shocked too.
there are actually men that are older than me without kids and my age, without kids nowadays. And then, you get the younger guys that don't have any kids too. But then you have the older guys that do have, kids. I personally prefer the ones that have kids.
Why is that?
Blended families to me is better for my situation personally, because I'm not trying to have any more kids. So, and it's that pressure when you meet a man and like, oh, I don't have kids. And then they're like, oh, I want that first kid.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, I'm sorry, I don't want to be.
So speaking of that, do you tell guys that off rip? Like, yo, I don't want any more kids.
Off rip. Like, at the end of the day, I'm at the age where it's no time to be wasted. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to, fool anybody or like, saying put this whole facade. Like, this is my life. This is where I stand. And I gotta stand by that, because it's something I don't want. I don't want.
Yeah.
And I just want to, not waste their time, because, they might be like, oh, I really like her, and potentially maybe thinking like, I get along with her kid, and then it's like, we can have our own. It's like, no, we can't. And I don't want to do that. Like, I just don't want to be that, person to,
So I have a question, because for as long as I've known you, you've always been a super straight up person, straight out the door. You don't hold back, but in a positive way. Like, I think you also put on the table exactly what you have to offer, and you don't hide things. You don't, disclose. I mean, even in our friendship, like just us, you just 100. And so, but I wonder how that translates over to dating, because like you said, from rip, you straight up. And I know sometimes guys aren't like that. You know what I mean? They try to like move and over. So do you find that being like something that's kind of like not a barrier for you? Like, I'm so honest right now, I'm trying to tell you what it is, but they still, some guys might still be on some bullshit.
Yeah, you mean like with my
assertiveness? Or maybe intimidated by that. Do you feel like
I honestly, oh my gosh, 100%. I feel like, honestly, I've been single for 4 years in the dating scene for the last 2. And honestly, I do feel like that's very challenging, because I am at a point in my life where I truly know self and what things I'm not going to bend. And some things that I will be okay with bending, but that's just one thing I'm not. So, it kind of can be intimidating with me just being like, you know what I'm saying? Like upfront, blunt, with my thoughts about, what I want and what I see, in a relationship.
And so with I know you just mentioned you've been dating for, 4 years now. Do you feel like you've that added any pressure to you, feeling like you have to, find somebody in a certain amount of time, or do you have a timetable for how long? Or
no,
you just say, all right, I'm not doing this no more.
Right, no. I mean, I feel still vibrant and stuff like that. I mean, I don't look my age. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, it's just basically, I want the quality, so not the quantity. So it's like, the quality is big for me. So, you know what I'm saying? Because again, my son is 4.5. Like, he needs this attention. So to me, I need to have that man that's willing to, either if he's going to come in and he's the right one right now, come in and help out, or If not, and he's just on some like, okay, we're just getting to know each other, dating, whatever, and not really serious about my situation, then it's probably gonna just be like a temporary, you know what I'm saying? And it just is what it is. But I'm in no rush. Like, I think timing is, at the essence.
No, it's definitely. So what do you see as some of like the challenges? I know you see you're big on blended families. Do you see that to be a challenge as well? Like once I found this man, he's dope. He's great. He met my son, but now we go to integrate with his family. What is that like?
Well,
is that as something you see as like a challenge in the dating part?
Honestly, I haven't gotten to that point in my dating life. Before I had my son, that was my situation. You know what I mean? My child's father had a daughter before our son. So, for me, I had no problem with that. Like, it was very easy for me. Because in my mind, since I had my son so old, well, not really old, but, older.
Yeah. Than most people.
Right, than most people, right. So, like, for me, I was like, well, stepmom it is, it's not an issue. I love kids. I just don't want to have the kids. You know what I mean? That's just me.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
I mean, I can see that making the role a little easier. You don't have to worry about having a kid, but you get another kid.
Exactly.
Is there an age that you feel like
it's like, ooh,
that's all right? You got a 13-year-old. You got a
No, I mean, honestly, I feel like the older the better.
I kind of feel like that too, honestly, a little bit. I mean, it comes with stuff, but
yeah,
I feel like that
most
too.
definitely. But older, I feel like it's better because then it's like they can truly understand the dynamic of what's going on between the initial blended families.
I feel like with the older, sometimes you run into the roadblock of like acceptance, like you ain't my mama, or you know what I mean? Well, teenage girls, they be like, nah, you not my mama, so don't tell me nothing.
But I still feel like for me, and I just think about this sometimes, like when my friends come to me and tell me that they're dating a guy with children, when they tell me how old the children are, the first thing I think, like if they're like, oh, the child's 2 or the child's 4, the first thing I think, like, well, where's the mother? Oh, because that's fresh. Like I can't, like that's real fresh.
No,
and I'm just
honestly.
like, that for me it seems like a red flag. But I don't. But like again, I'm not dating, so that's why we have you here.
Exactly.
So is that a red flag? Do you wonder
I
where the mama is?
I was actually going to piggyback on that. Yes, I think that it does become not a red flag, but it does come like a little issue, or you kind of second guess it because you're like, okay, wait a minute, this child, like for me, when I first started dating, my son was 2. So it's like, they were like, oh, you still sleeping with your baby daddy, and it's like just very insecure things. So for me, personally going into it, if I met a man with a younger child, I would, ask, like, what happened with you and the mom, and like, where does she stand? Because that is something to bring up, because especially for the mother, like if you're dating a man with a younger child, it's different because us as women, I feel like we can cut it off. Like, it's like, okay, we're done with that situation. We're done with that situation. We can move on. But I feel like if it's the opposite, it's like the baby mama can be a little kind of tricky, you know what I'm saying, situations or whatever,
So let's dig into that a little bit. That means he automatically still messing around. Because I feel like in certain situations, depending on what the baby mama is, some dudes cut that off too.
I mean, some dudes do. But I haven't, from stories that I heard. Yeah, you have to.
And I hear you on that.
I hear you too, because I think when you broke up with the father of your child, I seen it as like a clean split, and I feel like you were able to move on.
And he was very young too.
Yeah, and you guys both was mutual. But I think in also a lot of situations that I hear about is people that men sometimes. They're misleading. They are still they have this woman at home with this baby.
And I have dated men like that.
You know what I mean? And then they leaving at night to go to the GS or the GS is closed now. But they're leaving to go do X, Y, and Z. And they got this whole woman at home with this baby, this 2 and under child, this 3 and under child. And she's probably trying to figure it out. She's probably trying to lose some baby weight.
Right.
And you out here in these streets. And I'm just saying, and I get frustrated. I don't all the time. I learn to mind my business, but sometimes when my friends come to me, like I feel them, like you trifling.
Right? Hey, listen.
She out here just nursing this baby, making bottles and stuff, and your ass is out. So for me, I don't know. I just wonder.
You saying in those situations the guy isn't.
I done made up a whole scenario that could be false.
No, right.
But I get real passionate.
She did.
I get really
She was like,
He's talking about. Just tell me his name so I can go talk to the man. Because obviously this nigga out here.
It really be making me
Right.
mad. I don't like to
this
see
guy?
my friends in these situations.
Right.
It be making me. It breaks my heart.
No. But I can vouch for
But
that.
it's just
I have
like-
dated a guy that I felt like, you know, that's what was going on for sure. Because, you know, again, if the guy's honest and telling you like, okay, how long the relationship was with the woman, and then how old the kid is, and that they just broke up, they just got out of the situation a year ago, and the kid is 2. Yeah. Come on now, men have emotions too. There's no way that you can tell me that. I mean, yeah, you might want to, you know, get a little happy, you know what I'm saying, stick your dick and whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like you still have those emotions, you know, with your heart. So you're not gonna just detach, you know. And then you have the attachment with the child too, especially if you're a father that's, you know, in that child's life. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree with you.
But
100%.
I think Mel brought up a great point when she said that if you are dating and that's the situation, I think first thing when you talk about it being red flag, but it can also be a situation where it just causes you to ask questions. Like
of course,
said, right?
most definitely.
So if a man divulges the information and says, I have a 2-year-old, I think he's at least moving in the right direction to be
honest.
Okay,
right?
yes.
So
No, definitely.
Now what happens after that, I think is very important. We talk about this just in relationships in general.
Right.
Transparency
is key.
important,
Is
right?
key.
It's key. It's
yes.
key. So I think in that situation, if it is a red flag, you saying that.
Yeah.
Yo, for me, I know we talking, but for me, when in dating you and you have a 2-year-old, that's a bit of a red flag to me. Can you just tell me like what's going on with your baby mama situation? And honestly, because this may not work. You know, and I think sometimes dudes, like we talked about last week, they jump to conclusions. When you say that, they automatically mean they maybe can't get what they want, which is
Of course.
The fuck?
Of course. Yes, exactly. Yes.
So they
want to test drive the car.
Like, oh shit.
And so sometimes just talking on that honest level from the beginning can sometimes allow the transparency to be fluid on both sides. You know
Yeah.
I hear you guys.
Right,
Red flags
right.
is legit. It's legit.
I think it's legit.
Most definitely.
And I'm glad that Mel's here because sometimes I know sometimes when I talk to some of my friends, you know, I'm married. So, you know what I mean? I'm not in a dating scene. So it can kind of feel like you don't know what I'm talking, you don't understand.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I get that. You know, I'm not in anybody's shoes.
But not being in the shoes doesn't mean that you don't understand. You can still, like, you know what I mean? Because, yeah, you're married now, but you were, you know, you can still revert back to when you were, you know what I'm saying? So you can put yourself in our shoes.
And no different than what we're doing right now.
Right.
And you being on this couch, we're sharing perspectives.
Exactly.
And you talk to your friends and they give you perspectives. The odd thing is, guys don't talk about this shit. Like, the homie don't be like, yo, I got baby mom, but I'm trying to talk to ex-wife. Like, I haven't had that situation where I've had homeboys.
Seriously?
Yeah, like have a baby mama, but be trying to talk to another girl while they still dealing with their baby mama. I just haven't had that situation. I've never experienced that.
Or maybe they just didn't tell you about it.
I was going to say
But like, I'm trying to think to the guys that I actually
interact with,
Right. No.
They don't have baby mamas.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The women
that's true. They're married or they're...
I got you.
And that's just my experience.
Yeah.
Right.
So we got to get we gotta get somebody on to give us the other perspective.
Right.
I would love to get the
we
other
we gotta make this conversation well-rounded.
Right.
There has to be another perspective because all the guys aren't trifling, right?
No, and I'm in my experience, it wasn't that it's the trifling. I just think that it's like, again, like you say, in the beginning, you're not really sure if you really want to take it there with that woman. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just like, I'm not sure if I really want to take it there with that man. You have to figure it out.
Yeah.
You got to see, you know, they got to really like put you through tests. I got to put them through tests as well. It's like, okay, well, let me test these temperatures. I was already transparent telling her like, okay, I got a young, you know, child or whatnot. Okay, she okay with that? All right, cool. She's okay? Boom. Next level. You know what I'm saying? Right. Okay, now, do I bring her around or anything like that? Or am I going to keep them separate? Because it's like, I don't know if like the child's mom's going to be mad that this new lady is around the kid. You know, all these things. Because I'm going to be honest, in the beginning, when I broke up with my child's father, it wasn't that I was like mad or had an issue, but I was just like, well, why would you bring another woman that quickly around my son? You know what I'm saying? When you know you're not serious about this woman. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because it's not that I'm mad at him or anything like that or jealous, because like I've sailed that shit. You know what I'm saying? But or ship is sailed. But you know, it's just more about my son. You know what I mean? The fact that it's not right for kids to keep continuously seeing, you know, if the house is already broken, now you're just, you know, this person. It should go both ways. A man should be respectful and not have too many women knowing their kids, and vice versa. You know, I just think that it has to be that way, because that's when the kid gets all like, okay, well, this is just the norm. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, mommy's friend, daddy's friend, like, it shouldn't be like that. We really should, if the household has been broken up, you should really try to bring that household back together, you know what I'm saying, in another situation. You know if it's not going to work with the original parents, you know what I'm saying? Why? I'm going to say exactly why.
Do you think that men are more quick to bring other women around their kids versus women?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I think it's because, you know, women, we have the life growing inside of us, so that connection, it's like, we're automatic, like, no. Like,
mama bears
mama bears from the gate.
Damn, that's true. I never thought about it.
And I just think women are just more intuitive.
Yes.
Like, we just, like, and it's I don't think that men can't tap in, but I just think that it goes back to, like, what we talked about last week episode, the power of the pussy, right? It's not necessarily actually physically our pussy, right?
Correct.
But it's like the power of our feminine energy, and which comes with intuition.
Yes.
It comes to us just being connected in ways that I just think in reality men just aren't. And it's no slight to men, right? I just think it's just a power that women have to just and to just feel and see things from a different lens, and we just understand like the energies that are
most definitely. You
know?
And for me, I think from just observation, I feel like, and it's like you said, no slight on the men, but it's just one of those things where I think like you guys want to go out there, work, you know what I'm saying, and provide. So it's like you need that help. So if you're a single dad, like it's almost like you're so eager to, you know, want to get that new woman in your life to help you out to get that motherly energy in the household. You know what I'm saying?
I see that.
You know what I mean? And it's I think that's what it is about. That's why the men's like, okay, well, shoot, you know, she's respectful. She's a good mother already to her child. So go ahead, let's go right ahead. Just bring her on in. You know what I mean? So that's where I see it.
Yeah.
So you guys sharing your perspectives and thoughts on it. I know you mentioned your child's father has shared, you know, I mean, with his daughter meeting new women. Did he ever share his perspective as to why he did it? Did he actually say that, or you guys never had that conversation?
Well, you know, I didn't have to have the conversation. I'm very observant in the relationship. I saw that that's what he really needed. Like, he needed that woman to kind of help out. Like, because it's like the whole structure, you know what I mean? He needed that came from the woman, you know what I mean? So he wanted to be out there, like I said, out there and work and, you know, come home to meal and things like that. It's like men don't really are not programmed to be like, okay, let me go cook out. I mean, go out there, work, come back home, cook, do everything, clean everything like that. They're like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
I would say probably but like that's what I would be thinking. But I guess that's just not the norm.
You'd be thinking as far as like
come home, do the normal tendencies, come home, cook, take care, whatever.
Right.
But I also could see it from the perspective of also needing that. So with that being said, like, and I'm not saying like it's a bad thing, but do you fault a man for trying to, I guess, find that as quickly as possible?
I think
no, not faulting.
No,
it's not a fault.
So what do you do in that situation? I guess, or what would you suggest as women?
I just think
just be selective. Just be
selective.
Just be very selective on who you bring around
your child.
You know what I mean? I still have a great relationship with my child's father's daughter. Like she calls me her second mom. So it's like, you know, obviously he saw something in me that was like, okay, you know, even though she doesn't have her own kids, she has that motherly instinct. You know what I mean? She's gonna make sure the household is, you know, correct. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So. And
I think it goes back to just what Mel was saying, like her now, she knows self. And I think sometimes if you're coming out of a relationship and you're not sure what you're looking for, right? You don't really know what you want.
Right.
I think male or female, you can fall into just a quick something just to kind of feed that what you need, and you're not thinking full perspective, especially if you're a more emotional person. You may think you're not, because most men don't think they are, but men are way more emotional than women for sure. They pretend like they're not, but they are. And they, you're just wanting to crave what you need.
Correct.
And you're not thinking about the child. You're not thinking about the children. You're like, okay, I know I this was felt good with her at one point, but it doesn't now. So now I'm looking for that somewhere else.
Correct.
But you're not thinking, let me take a step back and figure out what I need to give to myself.
Right.
Because now it's just not just me, it's the kids.
It's the kids. And you have to put them first. That's just how I feel.
And to bring it full circle, I think, Mel, as you touched on, after you have a child and you're dating or you're no longer with your child's father, I think ultimately what it boils down to is putting the child first.
Right. Most definitely.
In every shape, form, or fashion, whatever that is.
Right.
I've had, a situation where I know from afar where, the mom, and dad broke up. And for mom, it was important for her to get back in the dating scene. And so I seen firsthand what happened with the children.
Right.
They suffered.
Right. They do.
And the most important integral parts of their lives, it was during their teenage years. And you know how that goes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like now you just not at home. Now you trying to figure it out.
Correct.
You kicked out. Now you just trying to figure it out by yourself. And so I think ultimately it boils down to when you are in that situation, just putting your child first. And whatever that means for your child, that's what you do.
Right. No, that's 100%.
And I think you having your own boundaries puts the child first.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I
Most
mean?
definitely.
And just knowing like, okay, no, valuing your time, knowing and finding, and I think standing by those, by what you believe in. Like, no, this is my time. This is how, and I think that's when you will find someone that will fit right into your world and not trying to force everything.
Exactly. That's exactly where I'm at, where I stand.
Yeah.
And that's dope. That's dope because you're not putting, like you said, the pressure on yourself. Although it's been 4 years to go out and find it, you're going to allow it to come to you.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And then it'll be more authentic, and then it'll be more real. So, and it's like, ding, ding, winner.
Chicken dinner.
Exactly. So.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys. Wrapping up another episode 7. This is a special episode, as you mentioned.
Thank you,
first
guys.
guest on this episode. Mel, as Tia mentioned in the beginning, is a really dope artist. She has her work all over Instagram. Mel, you want to share your Instagram handle for everyone?
Yes, you guys can follow me at IG, artistic_M3L0.
That's dope. And can't wait to see you guys next week.
Yes,
Bye.
let's talk. See you later.